What's good people, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how you can make this sick 3D title card in After Effects. It's a pretty sick effect guys. I'm going to be walking you through step by step how to do it, but I'm going to be going very in depth, so let's get straight into it. Let's go. Okay guys, so here I've got a clip from a music video I recently shot. This is what I'm going to be using for the cool creative 3D title card that we're going to be doing. First one is going to be using a few different plugins, so let's get straight into it. Now the first thing I'm going to do is add in a 3D camera tracker, just like this. Let it do its thing. In the meantime, let's open a new solid, okay? Just like this, right click, new solid. Doesn't matter what color it is because it's going to disappear. Cut it to the new layer, which is going to be 3D tracked. Then you need to add in element 3D. Right, before anything on element 3D, you need to go into custom layers, down into texture maps. From there, go to layer 1 and set it to your clip. In my case, it's number 2, so I'm going to put number 2. Now this is really important for your 3D models because it helps reflect the actual light of the image. It just makes it 10 times better. So all you got to do is visit this website here and download the dice. It's completely free. Make sure you download the OBJ file. I've got it linked down in the description. It's the second link. Just click on that, download it, and continue with the tutorial. So you're going to import that dice in using import and go into that file, the OBJ, and just opening it right here. So you may seem, oh wait, that's really small. So just normalize size so you can see it better. This is what I'm working with. So in one of our previous tutorials, we covered how to do a 3D gun effect. I showed you guys how to go into material and diffuse it and just basically use all the textures that come with it. If not, that's completely fine. What I'm going to be doing is actually using my own presets. I want it to have a nice little metal look, so I'm going to go into my Pro Shaders pack, which is basically paid, but you can find it online if you know what I mean. So I'm going to go into my Pro Shaders too. If you don't have this, you can use whatever textures you like, or you can use the original textures that come with it. Go into metal, which is what you don't have to, but I'm going to be using metal. So I'm going to choose any of these. So for example, let me choose metal grunge dirt. Okay, perfect. Then I'm going to go into the diffuse color and make it red, just like that. From there, I'm going to lower the reflectivity a little bit and diffuse a bit brighter, just like that. Just keep altering this until you find a fine balance that you like. Also, don't forget to go into the environment, go down and press your custom layer 1 to add a bit of color into it. This will give you a better idea of how it will actually look, if that makes sense. Now for the Roman numerals, I'd like a nice little chromey color, so that will work perfect for me, just this clean metal light. So now all your settings are done and everything, let's go on to the next step. You can see the environment reacting to the dice, which is exactly what we want. It's also taken on the nice bluish color grade I've done, so that works great. Unless you got a brick PC, your 3D tracking would have been done by now. So just go onto your track clip, then enable the track points just like this. Choose wherever. I'm going to choose, let's say, this car window here. Just press create null and camera. Bringing my black solid back to the top. I don't know why I put it down there. But now you'll see that it's been tracked, but yes, it looks a bit weird right now. That's because of the Z value, okay? It's too far in front of where the camera thinks it is. So now, let's send that all the way back. But how do we know what value to use? Basically, that's why I said use a null. So go into your track null and press P. This is the Z value we need. So press Ctrl C, go into your element layer, group 1, particle replicator, and this is what you need. Position Z, you can copy and paste it, and you'll probably see it disappears all the way over here. So, we track the camera to the car window. So that's where the camera assumes the dice is now, so it will move accordingly. So in that case, I want this Z value to stay pretty much the same. So instead of moving it forward to make it bigger, what I'm actually going to do is go into the scene setup again and simply select the whole thing and just scale it up massively. I'm going to put it on, let's say, 1500 or else. And that's about the size I wanted because I want it to be further away and then I want to have a bigger one down in the corner that's in front of our artist here. So now we can move it with these here, or you can use this little point if you drag it out. So I'm just going to drag it over here. So about there works for me, but obviously depending on what I do with the 3D title, I may move this around later. So to me, I'm very happy with how that track looks, but before we do anything else, make sure you disable render track points, just so in the final export, no tick, crosses, or whatever comes up. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that dice is looking. Now what I'm going to do, just to be a bit cooler, is add a little deep glow over the top of it. That's too much for me. Obviously, it depends down to personal preference, but I'm only going to do a little haze. I'm also going to make sure I add motion blur because motion blur is what really makes the image better than anything else. You don't want to have this with no motion blur, it won't look right. From there, I'm actually going to start adding in a rotation. Before anything, I'm just going to duplicate this and then find the point I was using earlier, which is over here, and drag it down into the corner. I'm going to save this for later. For now, let's work back on the original. So back on the original one, I want you to go into your group 1 particle replicator. Now I want you to go down into rotation. So once you're in rotation, I want you to just basically keyframe all 3 of these, yeah? Then move all the way to the end and just rotate it about however you'd like. So maybe about there, bit of turn there, and a bit of turn like that. So just playing it back, that's how it's looking already. Literally 1/4 of the full quality and it's already looking decent. But to me, I want it to be a little bit faster than that, so I'm going to go here and do a bit more rotation. So now playing that back, that's looking fine to me. Now it's time to do our next dice. So I want this dice to have more of a foreground effect. So going back to that layer, I'm going to get the Z value and I'm going to bring it forward, okay? Essentially moving the Z value lower means it's closer to the camera, which means it'll have more of a foreground effect rather than a background effect like that dice over there. Essentially, the further you move the Z value back, the less it will move because it thinks it's further away. So enough chatter, I've moved it forward, now it's time to bring it closer. So I don't want the whole dice in the picture, I feel that'll make it crap. So essentially I'm just going to bring it forward and keep moving it closer and closer and closer. So that's it being brought forward. Then I'm going to use this point, or you can use these over here just to drag it where you'd like it. I want mine about there, but playing it through, it's still a bit too close, so maybe might move it over here. You can see it shaking a little bit. That means I brought it a bit too close to the camera, so I'm just going to bring it back a little bit more until it stops shaking as much. Now that matches the camera movement pretty well, so I'm going to go into scene setup. Remember, just because we duplicate it doesn't mean it's the exact same element. So if I scale this one up, it won't scale the other one. So the other one will stay the same, that will get bigger. So I'm going to bring this back into position where I want it. That's perfect for me. So playing through it, I'm pretty happy with how that's looking for the camera. Now it's time to add a rotation animation, just like the last one. So essentially this is how it looks like. I've got X, Y, and Z keyframe, and then I went to the end and just changed the keyframes, and that was it. So now the animations are done, what I will say is go into the element layer of both of them, go down to render settings, go into lighting, and change one of these to whatever you feel works best for yours. Let me cycle through, then I'll get back to you once I'm done. Surprisingly, the one that I feel works best, which is the one I've been playing with over here, is underwater. So I'm just going to change that to underwater. No reason behind it. To me, it just looks the best. I'm not going too into details with this. Just choose whatever you think looks best. So looking at that, I'm really liking how the light fall off looks over here. I think that has a really cool effect, so I'm definitely going to keep that. So one thing I'll say is, the dice on the right hand side, you can see it isn't interacting with my artist. But if it's overlapping, I'd highly recommend you rotoscope him out and then put him in front of this dice here. Because this dice is in the foreground on the left, I'd rather keep that in front of the artist. And the one on the right is dodging him completely, they're not interacting, so I don't need to rotoscope just yet. But we may need it later. Now, on to the next step. So you got some pretty cool looking dice. Now it's time to have a pretty cool looking 3D text effect on top. So first thing you're going to do is just go on any frame of the clip, it doesn't really matter which one, and add a new text layer. You are then going to type out whichever name you want. In this case, I'm just going to do Paranoid, which is the title of the video. It's not come out yet, but it'll be coming out soon. So, but this is the font I'm going to be using because I feel it fits the vibe the best. Choose whatever you like, it doesn't really matter. You don't really need to do too much to this now. All you need to do is add in a new solid, just over here. And then add another element 3D layer. That's right, we're using 3. Pulling out the big dogs. Okay, so first thing you're going to do, like I taught you before, custom layers, custom texture maps, and set it to your clip. In my case, it's number 7 again. I'd also recommend matching the lighting the same, so I'm just going to keep that the same just before I do anything else. So now, here's the next step which I haven't showed you on this channel just yet. Collapse custom texture maps and go into custom text and masks. Path layer 1, where it says none, click the name of your title, which is, for me, is Paranoid 2. So I'm just going to click that. Go into scene setup now, wait for it to load. So guys, before anything, go into environment, drop down menu and click custom layer 1 as we normally do in our element 3D tutorials. Now the next one, what I want you to do is press extrude. If you've done it right and connected your text layer like I told you earlier, you'll see the text pop up. with something a little bit different than usual. A little extruded bevel. So now, if you want to make it thicker, you go down until you see, where is it? Bevel scale. Then you could just widen it however much you want. I'm also going to add a texture in here just to make the effect even better. I'm going to give it a nice clean metal look. Probably the same as the last one with the dice on the inside. Just that chromey look. That looks pretty cool to me. So from there, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to press OK and let that load in. You can see it's now matching the scene. So now I'm going to disable the paranoid text layer we originally made. Cut down this extrusion layer. Now you can see we now have the text inside, but it's not tracked properly. So I'm sure you guys know, we've done it a billion times. You need to change the Z value in group 1, particle replicator. Change the Z value to something that we were doing before. And if you find it to be too small, it's fine. Go into your original text layer, which we hid. Press scale and just scale it up, just like that. I'm also going to add deep glow just to give it a nice effect. Expand it and then just lower it just to my liking. Something like that's alright for me. I'm also going to add in a drop shadow just because there's also a sky that we're working with. Now it's time to get into placing it in wherever you'd want it to be. So guys, I had a minor issue with my webcam. It decided to turn itself off. As usual, I have problems with it, so never mind that. Back into the tutorial, you can see that now that we've added it in, if the drop shadow is too hard, you can always add a bit more softness into it, which isn't really a problem. Just go down to the drop shadow and add more softness until you find a value you like. Okay, from there, if you still find it's a bit too small, go back into the layer which you hid earlier and just up the scale again, just like that. But you may have noticed now, when I rotate it, if I go back into the element, particle replicator rotation, let's do Y. You can see the 3D effect and the bevel is practically gone. That's because the bevel has stayed the same while the text has gone massive. So, go into scene setup, wait for it to load, go back onto the bevel scale and just up it like mad. Until you find a value that you're happy with. For me personally, I want it to be a bit thicker than normal. Fine for me. So I'm just going to press OK, let it load in. So now you can see that it's so much better. I'm really happy with how that's looking. And it's interacting with the background as well since we changed the environment. That is looking sick. Now it's time to place it where we want it. So first off, I want it a bit bigger. So I'm just going to go back onto the scale and just make it bigger again. You see, the more I think about it, rather than having it behind him and rotoscoping him out, because he takes the majority of the frame, I'd rather make a title card that's in front of him instead. So, you can see that my dice are still looking pretty sick, but I'm going to move the one on the right just so we can see the text a bit better. So again, just going back into that element layer and using the group particle replicator, you know what to do already. So I'm just going to move that a bit more to the right. So you can see that's looking pretty cool now. Now is the time where you can change the lighting of the text. So go back onto your text layer, go down from, if I collapse this just so you can see a bit better, go down from group 1, leave that now. Go into render settings on the text layer that we've done, the 3D text layer. Go down into where it says lighting, okay? Now that you're in render settings, go down into physical environment, okay? Then go into rotate environment. From here, you can change where it's taking the environment from and just pretty much make it however you'd like. So I'm actually going to do a little shine effect now that we've got it available. So I'm going to start it off in the dark, just like this. Going to keyframe the Y rotation environment, go to the end of the clip and make it pass through, just like this. So I've moved it from left to right, essentially. And going through it, you can see it's having a little shine effect, just like that. Now it's got a little bit of a shine effect, that's pretty cool. So now that's pretty cool, but I don't want it to start just being a normal text layer. I want it to spin around into the paranoid. So what I'm going to do is go all the way up back into group 1. Then on, I'm going to use the Y rotation. So I'm going to start it off behind, just like this. Then I'm going to keyframe the Y rotation. Then I'm going to go forward a bit more, just like this. And put it back to where I wanted it, just like this. Perfect. I'm going to F9 the little spin we've done, but I'm not going to F9 the shine effect that we did earlier with the environment. I'm going to leave that as a constant. So you can see the spin's done now, but I want the spin to be quicker at the start. So I'm going to go into our Y rotation keyframes, graph editor, highlight the right side and drag it until you have a smooth curve like this. So there we go. That is the animation done for the paranoid text. That is looking pretty sick. Now it's time to add in some extras. So we can all agree, looking at the text difference, yes, it looks pretty cool, but that's not a very smooth transition, is it? So now it's time to add in a transition. You personally, you can do whatever you feel. A flash, a shake, a zoom, whatever you think fits your clip the best. What I'm going to do personally is use a shake from the Trap Essentials pack, which is available on onthecam.com. It is the first link on top of the description. So I'm going to add a new adjustment layer with Ctrl-Alt-Y. Then I'm going to be adding in the green shadow hit effect from the Trap Essentials pack I mentioned a second ago. But I'm going to change the green to a nice red. I've mentioned it a few times, just every clip is different, but the Trap Essentials pack just helps you get that shortcut you need to get where you need to a lot quicker than normal. So that's pretty cool, but you can see that we have got the non-motion tile effects. Just to be safe, I'm going to pre-comp all of our stuff together apart from the shake. Then you can see the preset I've made just automatically mirrors it for you. So I'm going to add a small enough vignette to the background of our clip. Just doing it on the bottom clip, not doing it above any of the other ones because I don't want it to affect the elements. Going back into our layer, you can see it has made a nice bit of a difference. Makes the text the main highlight of this whole effect. So that is the Element 3D tutorial done. We've come to the end of another video, guys. Hope you lot enjoyed it. More importantly, I hope you learned something. Make sure you're applying everything you're learning. I'll be coming back with some more 3D title cards very soon, so if you want to see any suggestions, drop it down in the comments. I'll take a look. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you lot in the next video. Love.